everybody, and welcome back to my channel, Crafting in a Small Space. I am Miranda. We are in Portland, Oregon, and this is Small Space Bedroom. I showed you before on a previous video the cowl that I had made. This is the Loops and Threads Skyscapes, and it is very halo. Very, 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 very halo. It is the Mock Eyelet cable, which is my favorite stitch in knitting ever. I love it, and it makes the most spongy thing. So I made this, and I made a headband to go with it. And the week before that, I had made the double moss stitch one, and this is the macchiato cakes. And I had made a headband to go with it in the same stitch. And I made him also, that I don't have in my hands, a hat for him that has a mountain on it, and I started making a stocking, and it was way too wide, so I cast it off as a hat, and he now wears it all the time. When I went to the craft store the other day, I got some red and black yarn because I was wearing these pajama pants one day, and then I wore these pants when we went out the next day. So I cast on my usual, oh my god, I'm losing stitches because I used my things for something else. Holy shit. Well, poopy. Anyway, so I cast on my usual 120 stitches for a cowl, and I am doing gingham. I'm going to take this off of here and turn it into a hat because it is it's a little fiddly. I need to find, maybe I won't take it off. Anyway, you do the first strip red and black, red and the staggered color, the color that's kind of half and half, and then the next strip you do white, the staggered stitch and the solid black. So then by the time you do that a few times, it starts looking like actual gingham. And I've only done a few because I accidentally messed up what I was going to do. I thought that I would do a knit one purl one in this little bit right here to make it look kind of puff up, but that was not a good idea. It made everything look really uneven, and the stitches, you couldn't really see these little stitches and what their definition was supposed to be, so I started doing it in the knit stitches instead. And I'm doing a 6 wide by 7 tall, and then it looks correct when you do it that way. I've seen some that were 5 by 6 and some that were 6 by 6, but I'm going to do a 6 by 7. I may leave it on here, or I may, I did it again. It's a sign. It's a sign. Take it off, make a hat. Because it's very time consuming to do those little things, and around here you don't really get good concentration. So I bought 2 of these and 2 of these because I was going to make a cowl and I didn't know how big it would be. And then afterwards I'm like, I obviously know that these 2 skeins are big enough to make a cowl. So I have a 2 extra, but I'll probably use them to make something else later, so I just kind of went with it and kept it. So let's see, what was I going to show you? I still have this. I have 2 of these that I have yet to use, and Michaels is going through like this ridiculous transition right now where they're trying to join their stuff with Joann's brand stuff, and they have like fabric here and there, and they have a few things that are what Joann's used to have. But it's kind of a big fail because every time you go in there, they're resetting. Every single time you go in there, they're like, everything's everywhere, and they have things online, and when you go in, they don't have them, or they have them in the back and they're not ready to pull those out yet. So shouldn't say they have them in stock if they're not on the shelf yet. And I went in there today because there are other colors of this that would go, that I could use for other things. I have 2 of this. I started to use this on a cowl, and the pattern, I was doing the bubble stitch knit, and this, you do not want to do the bubble stitch knit with this, because you know how you have to rip 4 bars out and go down to the one below and then knit them all together. This felts itself very, very fast, so you can't do that with this. And I found that out after doing 2 rows of the bubbles and having it just be a horrible, horrible process. It was so time consuming trying to rip those pieces apart, and they wouldn't look right if you didn't pull them apart all the way. So I have 2 of this still to use, and I can use this for something Christmassy, but I'll probably keep making, I want to make these into cowls or capelets. I haven't made a capelet yet, but I'm probably going to just keep making these into cowls because they are just, you want this around your neck. I wore that one I made the other day just for like 20 minutes while I was talking about it, and it's freaking warm, and it would be very good inside like the neck of your coat. So I have 2 of these ones. I have a partial one of this left because I used that whole other one to make the, I would say I have like more than 2/3 of this left, but it's definitely used a bit, barely. So I have 1 of this left, I have 2 of this one, and then I went in there today to buy 2 that look kind of like stone, and I think that if I made a cowl or hat for him, he would wear them if they were like those colors, but they didn't have one of the ones I wanted, but they did have this one, and I think this is a very nice earthy kind of one. The name of this one actually I think was a name. Navy Silver Multi. I guess they're not really names, they're just, but it looks like stones to me. It looks like things that you'd see in nature. And then this one, in looking for this, I was actually looking for another one that looked more like rocks. It was a gray and different one. And in looking for that, she said that they are listed as something that they are not going to get again once they're gone, which is ridiculous because this stuff is nice and soft and fun to play with. So I snapped up the one that I wasn't going to get yet. I was going to get some other time because it made me think of Halloween. That makes me think of horror movies. It doesn't. So this is going to stay in the stash, just in the background, but because they don't really, this is brand new, like this is like only a couple months old, and they're not, she said that they're marked as not coming in again, so I picked up this one and that one, and I didn't get the other one I wanted. They had plenty of the blues and greens left. They had, I would say that there were 14 different colors, and in the store they probably had 12 the first time I went in there, but not all of them. But when I went in there just now, there's like 3 that people haven't bought any of, and they're still stuffed on the shelves. One was like this blues and greens, and one was the Bloody Massacre looking one. It seriously looks like somebody in jeans just got like hurt. So I wanted to keep it for next Halloween or something like that, but I had to get it now because it won't be there. So the reason why I went to the craft store this time was for this. This is the new Bernat Fluffy. And I was wanting, which they only seem to have at Joann's, the that material that I was using to make other stuff before, the Forever Fleece, that's what it was called, the Forever Fleece. That's what I made that pink and gray blanket with. But this is very close to that. This is very, 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 very close to that. It isn't as thick as it at all. This is like the Forever Fleece light that they carried. There was like one that was thinner, but it was still Forever Fleece. It feels like that. And I bought just a blue one and a cream one the other day, and I bought the blue one to make him hats because he can't really wear white. He gets too dirty and he drops his hats on the floor, and I don't really want to make a beautiful hat and have it get super dirty. I mean, regular wear is fine in his realm of regular wear, but he can't have light colored things most of the time. So I got this blue. They didn't have any other blue other than a really yucky looking aqua-ish kind of color, and then they had like bright forest green, which would not have been good. It was a weird forest green. There's a pumpkin orange, a cream. There was a bunch of colors missing also, which really sucked because I wanted to see them. So I got the blue, and the white, but I was really there for the red and black material to make the gingham thing. And I knew that I wanted to make him a hat like this because he wears my hats. He's actually very knit-worthy and will wear them. He will wear them into the ground, though. So I make him a lot of hats, so he always has one to pick from, so he doesn't, like, wear out one super fast. Plus, he kind of scatters them around the house and the car and the van and, you know, everything. So I got this one. But the reason why I went there today is when I opened this, the end was already balled up when you pull it out, and there was a cut piece, and then another cut piece, and then a bunch of pieces that were joined together with knots. And so sitting there right in my visibility right now out my window in my car seat right now is the one I bought the other day in the bag with the receipt ready to take back. And when we left just a minute ago to go to the grocery store and other places, I forgot it. So we just went to the craft store and I replaced it with this one. And I also bought the purple that I really wanted. The purple, it's a little darker than what is actually showing right now, but I would love to make a hat, just a solid blue one with this one, a solid purple one, and do some color work, just gentle little color work with the blue and white and the purple, like just these two colors, then these two colors. Just a simple little plush hat. And yesterday I was really frustrated because I couldn't use the blue because the blue was clearly a return that somebody has cut a million times. And when you crochet and knit with this stuff, you most likely will hit the stitch that sticks out on the front with that cut part, and it does not hide well at all. It is way too bunchy. So I made this little headband for myself, and it is extremely cozy. Like, I don't like hats. Oh my god, I look like I could tell your future. Come, let me show you them. I don't even know what I would say. Anyway, and it was like trial and error also, learning like what stitches. His head is an inch smaller than mine. Look at my gray, that's so funny. His head is an inch smaller than mine, and when I put this on, the stitches are a little stretch, but you want a little stretch. And I went from 60 stitches down to 50. So this is a 50 cast on. The weight of this yarn is not a 6, it's a 5, and it actually says 5, and it is actually accurate. So with this, when you're making a hat, I would cast on 50 or lower for an adult. And in the pattern, yet again, that I found on Ravelry, the person casting on for an adult hat was 72 stitches. And I don't understand hat stitches. I really don't. This is why my favorite thing to knit is cowls, because you don't have to make it fit somebody's head. And there's all these people out there with patterns, and if I follow their pattern and I have a average tension, if I follow their pattern, everything is loose, like beyond loose, and my stitches are even. They're not too tight, not too loose, nothing untoward. But when I followed the hat pattern that I did yesterday, it was like cast on 72 stitches for an adult hat, and that would have been way out here. And I'm using the needles as it said, and the needles that it said in the thing. So, whatever. I made this. This one is actually for me. I'm actually going to use this because every time we go anywhere, I don't want to wear a hat. I want something to cover my ears because my ears are cold, and to keep my hair from these. There's like a million little short hairs right here, and they just blow right down into my face. So that one is mine. When I went to the craft store just now, I went to the jewelry department because remember I have all of those, or I may have not posted that video. I bought one of those jars from Goodwill one time, and it has all this Christmas stuff in it, and I'm going to turn them into a bunch of stitch markers. But they didn't really have, my own personal stash doesn't have a lot of silver stuff and like anything that would go with the Christmassy stuff. So today I bought these little silver stars so that I can put these with the stuff I'm going to do stitch markers with. And I bought these, and they have an iridescence, and they are not all the same color, and I'm trying to make them look kind of like water and ice for, like, you know, the winter holidays. So I have those to play with. And then I still have not used the two double pointed needles that I got to finish off a regular size hat. But I will, with this, when I do the gingham hat, instead of the gingham cowl, then I will try to use these to cast off what I'm doing, or to reduce my stitches and decrease and all that kind of stuff, which I haven't ever done before. And I pulled out my big container. If you guys don't have this container, you need this. It looks, you carry it like this, but I don't obviously carry this with me everywhere I go because nobody needs every single thing they have. I got this for my birthday, I think last year, or Christmas, and it is one of those book type craft things. And I've got crochet stuff on this end, and then there's stuff notions in the center, and then cable needles, little doodle cards, and then different knitting needles, like everywhere, all the way around here. And I was trying to look for the DPNs that are here to see what size. They're 13s, which I guess I could cast off a chunky hat with, but not this chunky hat, because this stuff takes size 11 when you knit it. And I know usually people will knit down a size on the brim and up a size in the pattern, but I did 11 on this whole entire thing, and it works just fine. So I have 11s. I thought I had, what are these DPNs? I have another DPN set right here, and I have not actually looked at them. And I have a DPN set for socks. I know that much. Let's see what I got here. This is my sock stuff. 16 inch, 2.75, 2.75, 2.75. Look how tiny those are. I have never used these. I started making a sock, and then I got really frustrated because I was in the middle of nowhere, and the person that had all this yarn gave me yarn, and I didn't have the internet for a minute to continue the pattern of the socks. Let's see, which ones are these? 5mm. Dang it, I thought these were 4s. Well, now I have them. I have a size 4 and 5. So now I have long, oh, that's what it is. Okay, I was like, I know I have one of these already. So I have 5 in a shorter set and a longer set, and then I have a 5.5 in a longer set. So these are relatively close together. I was looking for a 4, but whatever. It's close enough to a 4 to finish off a hat. So when I get to that point, I'll have to knit the full body of it first. I guess I shouldn't put that back in there. So, oh, and he also found some of my Fimo clay stuff. So I was trying to make stitch markers, but there's something wrong with the clay, and every time you try to fold, you know how you roll the long snakes of the clay, and then you fold it over and do other things, it just snaps. And part of the thing I do with it is twisting it and twisting it and twisting it, and then leaving the ends the way that they were when they were a ring, but it did just break. So I think the clay needs a little conditioning first. Okay, let's see. These were 5 and 5.5. So I'm going to leave the 5s out and then put the other 2 away because I don't need 5.5. I'm going to leave those there. So I did already have a good set. And then I was going to make some cowls, and I have these already. I have ones that are not detachable, and I knew I had a set that was a different size. What is this one? This is 13s, so I could make a chunky cowl with this if I wanted. And then this one, God, my eyesight is so terrible. 5mm. I don't know. So, yeah. Then I have this whole bag of yarn that was in my little area over there, and I was like, well, I'm not going to work on any of this stuff right now, so I might as well take it down. But I did buy this yarn the other day, and I was in there to try to find those double-pointed needles. There's a store in my town, a couple little mini cities over, that has, it's a bookstore, like the bookstores where you put your own bookshelves in there and sell your books, and then you have some things in the corner. Well, in part of the corner, she has cornered off an entire knitting and crochet and yarn spot where she sells, like, you can go in there and trade books for yarn, or yarn for books, or yarn for credit, or yarn for other yarn, things like that. And so I bought these, and I did get them all puffy with the blanket because my birthday was on the 9th. Yay, birthday. I'm 45. And I got a blanket that is new, and it is, the little white bits are falling all over. But I did buy this at that store, and it is Heritage Yarn, 75 superwash merino, 25 nylon. And when I was in there, the lady was asking me if, she's like, oh, are you making socks? I'm like, no, I was making a cowl. Because that's my favorite thing, is just that beautiful thing around your neck just being so super soft. And these colors are just amazing. So I bought this the other day too. It is so, look at that in the light. I got like one tiny little window open over here, and oh, freaking delicious. So yeah, I bought that, and I have to put all of this yarn back in my closet that I'm not going to be working on right now, but things that I needed at the time. Yeah, and then all the things I was not going to work on, and I needed to get out my project bag full of some project bags so that when I go around I can take the bag with me. Let me see what project bags I have in here. There's one I made a few years ago, and it's got a brown zipper. Remember, the inside of it looked like bird poop? That's what it makes me think of. This is probably going to be what I... Oh wait, I can't. The skein of yarn won't fit in there. Maybe it will. Maybe it will. That would be hilarious. It wouldn't close. Oh my goodness. Let's not pop a zipper now. Oh yeah, that's not good, because then the hat wouldn't fit in there at the same time. So not that one. I've used this one to death. I didn't really want to bring that one again. Then I have this one. Shoot. And then it's not summertime. I can't use my watermelon. Oh, I need to go to the store, or the storage unit is the words I was actually trying to get. There it is. Oh, there it is. There it is. There it is. I'm gonna use one of these. I'm gonna use one of these for the gingham, and I keep forgetting to frickin' pull them out. It came with 4. I put one in one secure spot and one in the van, and then I have these 2, and I keep trying to figure out where I put the 4th one. But I'm gonna take this stupid one off here right now and put it in that basket that I'm gonna take back down there with me. So I'm like, dang it, I can't figure out where that thing is. So, yeah. Anyway, so I'm going to start the blue hat right now for him, because it is so pretty and so squishy, and I had him try on the headband, and he liked the way that the headband felt. But yeah, let's try not. I got my yarn caught on this thing yesterday, and I almost just pulled because I was getting frustrated, and I forgot that it's the cutter. I'm like, dang it. Alright, let's see. Anything else? I think that's it. We talked about everything. How are you guys doing? Are you making anything fun? Yeah. I just discovered this thing that is in town that I will never get to go to because of how expensive it is. But here in my town, they have a place where you can go and make those rugs. You can do the tufting class, but it's like $150 a class, and I would pay for that, no problem. But if I was to say, let's go together, it would be about the money. So I'm never going to get to do that. Ow. So yeah, hope everybody's doing good, making fun things. You know, if you want to show me the things that you're making, go onto my Instagram, always.yarning, and share, like, tag me in stuff that you're making, just so I can see what everybody's making. Sierra's already on there, and a few other people from here on there. Just show me what you're making. Let's be friends. Alright, I gotta go. I gotta make lunch. See you later, guys. Bye!